I decided to leave Selena Kyle for now even though I'm married to her. Every one of my wives are living in their apartments with one of my clones that look just like me and they function just like me, and then I decided to go get Feora and marry her as well, and then I teleported in front of Feora and she smirked and stood up, and then I went and married her on Earth in the United States, and now she will stay in her own apartment too, and when the time comes Poison Ivy will live with me and Harley Quinn, and now I said I will leave you with my clone, and I have designed this room after Kryptonian architecture. It should suffice for your needs, and my clones can always create anything you need out of thin air. My clones are very useful and powerful. All you need to do is ask them for help and they will help you. And Feora said, wait, I want to make love to you and your clone before you go back to your apartment, and I said very well, and then we both took off our clothes and I gave Feora double penetration for many years inside my pocket dimension, and I decided that I no longer want to get my women pregnant, but I can still give them cream pies without the pregnancy, and that's what I did, and for hundreds of years I made love to Feora in my pocket dimension where time stopped in the real world, and she said, oh my god baby, oh yes I love you so much, and then her mind broke so bad that she passed out and slept for 50 years, and I stayed with her and she said, I am satisfied now, you may go, and I said good, see you later, and then she stuck her fingers in her vagina and she ate my seed with a lewd expression on her face, and then I went to talk to Harley Quinn to see if she has a friend named Poison Ivy I don't know about, and I went back to our room and I asked Harley Quinn and I said, darling, are you here? And then Harley Quinn walked out with a beautiful green woman that looks like Megan Fox, and I asked, who's your friend sweetie? And Harley Quinn said, this is Poison Ivy, can she stay here puddin'? And I smiled and said, of course she can darling, I love you. And then Poison Ivy kept her distance for a second while Harley Quinn was hugging me, and then Harley Quinn stopped hugging me for a second and she gestured for her to come hug me, and I said, don't worry Pamela, I know who you are and I'm immune to your powers and your poison, I am the sun god Rao. And then Poison Ivy asked Harley Quinn, is that true? And Harley said, yes honey, he's definitely a god and he's immortal and invincible, you can't hurt him. And I held my arms out for an embrace and then they both hugged me, and then Poison Ivy hesitated to kiss me for a second and then I kissed her passionately and she melted into the kiss, and I said, oh yes baby, I'm definitely going to love this. And then Harley Quinn said, girl, it's time to have some fun. And then for many years I had sex with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy in my pocket dimension where time never flows and stopped in the real world, and Poison Ivy said, my god, it's been so long since I made love to a man, it feels so good and he's so handsome. And Harley Quinn said, I know right? And Harley Quinn touched my chest, and every time I would explode my seed in Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn would lick it up, and I decided to get Poison Ivy pregnant, so I did, and I continued to pleasure Poison Ivy, and she said, oh my god baby, it's so good, he feels so good. And then Poison Ivy said, my god Harley, how long have we been in here? And Harley said, well you see, time flows differently in here. In the real world not even a second has passed, but in here we have been having sex with him for years. And she said, no wonder I'm a little sore, but I don't want to stop having sex with him. And she said, I want his seeds, I want him to get me pregnant. And she said, yes Bruce Wayne, give me your seeds. And then I said okay, and then I exploded my semen in her vagina, and then I came in her mouth and I came in her butthole, and I moaned loudly with pleasure and relief, and then I went cross-eyed as Harley Quinn was now riding my member ravenously, and now we were all sweating passionately. After we made love in every sexual position, we were all now laying down on our backs panting, and I said, I think I am finally tired somehow, and that's saying a lot. And then Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy giggled cutely and awkwardly and they said, my god, that was amazing. And then I said, do you girls want to rest now? And Poison Ivy said, yes, I need to rest, is there any food around? And I said yes, and then I created her plenty of food and plenty of meat, and I asked, do you eat meat? And she, yes of course I do, I don't like eating plants. And I said good, and then she began to eat plenty of food along with Harley Quinn, and I ate plenty of pizza, not because I need food but because I like it, and my body always absorbs all the nutrients and vitamins in all food very quickly, as do all other Kryptonians. It actually gives us more strength, but yes, I don't need the sun like other Kryptonians because the sun is always a part of me.